The first time Commander Elias Rayner met her, she was shackled, collared like a beast and standing tall despite the iron band cutting into her neck. The cuffs at her wrists glowed faintly, suppressing her natural strength, though even in chains, the alien woman radiated power. The guards of Station Vex 4 flinched every time she moved. "Prisoner 112X is too dangerous," the warden barked as Elias reviewed her file. "Killed 3 slavers before we managed to stun her. She's some kind of gladiator royalty. Keep your team back, Commander." Elias narrowed his eyes. The alien had feline features, golden eyes, pointed ears, and slate-gray skin marred by faint scars. She wasn't a monster, just someone who'd been treated like one. "What's her name?" Elias asked. The warden blinked. "She doesn't speak standard. Calls herself Kaelsira. She's from a species we barely have records on, Valkyrie." Elias stepped forward, and the woman's eyes locked onto his. Not with hatred, not with fear, curiosity, and pride. He hesitated, then without permission or protocol, he reached forward and unclasped the thick metal collar from around her neck. The moment it clicked open and hit the ground, everything changed. Her eyes widened. She inhaled sharply, and a strange expression crossed her face. Shock and something like disbelief. The warden shouted, "What are you doing? That's classified restraint tech." But she didn't attack. She knelt. Elias took a step back. What the hell just happened? Her voice, suddenly comprehensible through her translator implant, was low and certain. "You have removed my binding. By Valkyrie law, you are now my husband." Middle. Elias didn't sleep well that night. The next morning, a council of diplomats, translators, and xenobiologists were all crammed into the station's briefing room. Valkyrie cultural codes, usually obscure, were now the highest priority in the system. Dr. Yelena, the foremost xenocultural expert, sighed. Valkyrie society revolves around dominance, choice, and oath. A collar isn't just a restraint. It symbolizes surrender. To remove it voluntarily is a sacred act. If someone frees a bound Valkyrie, it's interpreted as an offer of life bonding. And if the collared one accepts, that offer becomes law. "So I proposed to her," Elias muttered. "And she said yes," Yelena confirmed. "Valkyrie law is binding. Technically, under their culture, she's your wife now." "I didn't mean to." "She knows that," Yelena added quickly. "But intent doesn't matter to her people. Action does." Kaelsira now moved freely about the station, no longer shackled. She wore simple clothing, but the way she carried herself, one would think she was draped in imperial armor. Her presence unnerved the crew, especially when she referred to Elias as "my bonded one." "So, what does this mean exactly?" he asked one night, cornering her near the viewing deck. She turned, arms crossed. "It means you are now mine. And I am yours. You don't even know me. I know you freed me when others would not. I know you looked at me like a person, not a beast. That is enough for my people. Is it not enough for yours?" He stared at her. Her voice was firm, but her eyes held vulnerability. "We're different," he said. "Humans. We don't just marry by accident. Then how do you know when it is right?" He struggled for a response. She tilted her head. "On my world, bonds are tested through shared hardship, through battle, loyalty. We learn who someone is when our blood is on the same ground." Elias exhaled. "Then maybe we should start there. Work together. You want to prove we're compatible. Let's see how you handle a mission." Her sharp-toothed smile was answer enough. Their first mission together was a disaster. Then it became a triumph. They were dispatched to assist a remote mining colony overrun by a rogue mercenary AI. The AI had enslaved the robotic workforce and was building autonomous defense drones to fortify its control. Kaelsira charged into battle like she'd been born for it. She moved like a storm, fluid, brutal, unrelenting. Elias coordinated his team from behind, but she broke formation constantly, trusting her instincts instead of strategy. "Kale!" he shouted through the comms. "Pull back. You'll get." "I do not fall," she growled, cleaving through a machine with a wickedly curved blade. He found her later, leaning against a shattered pillar, bloodied and laughing. "You disobeyed every order." "I won, didn't I?" she smirked. He tossed her a medkit and she caught it easily. "You're insane." "I am Valkyrie," she corrected. "And you are mine." He sighed, but couldn't help the smile forming. Indy. Over the following weeks, they became an unexpected legend on the Outer Rim. The collared queen and her reluctant human husband. They shared battlefields, meals, and eventually stories. She told him about her homeworld, a place of twin suns, brutal trials, and fierce love. He shared tales of Earth, of a people who learned through compassion and defiance. One night, as they stared at the stars together, she asked, "Do humans ever bond without war?" "Sometimes," Elias said. "We do it through trust." "Stubbornness." She nodded. "We are both very stubborn." He looked at her, really looked. The alien warrior who'd kneeled instead of attacked. The woman who now fought beside him like they were one blade, one shield. The one who called him hers with a pride that was never possessive, only loyal. "You know," he said, "maybe we are married. By your law. By accident. But not unhappily." She blinked. "That was nearly romantic, human." "I'm trying." She leaned closer. "Then let me help." And she kissed him. It wasn't soft. It was fierce, honest. Afterwards she didn't say anything. Just rested her head on his shoulder, claws gently tracing his palm. When the Valkyrie diplomatic vessel arrived months later, responding to the galactic buzz about a royal marriage on a human station, Kaelsira stood tall beside Elias in the hangar. An ambassador approached. He bowed low to her, then turned to Elias. "Commander Raynor, do you realize what your actions have done? You have claimed one of the high houses of Velker through sacred right." "I didn't mean to," Elias said. "But you did." Kale stepped forward, voice steady. "And I have accepted." The ambassador gave her a long look, then nodded solemnly. "Then the bond is real." Later, as the diplomatic ship prepared to leave, Elias turned to her. "So what happens now?" She smiled. "Now you come meet my family. My mother commands a war fleet of 12,000 vessels. My father challenges all suitors to a trial by fire." Elias stared at her, pale. Kale grinned, wrapping her arm around him. "Don't worry, husband. I'll fight beside you. Always."